What's been going on? What's the haps? I was gone for Linkus's wedding, had a great time. Let me tell you, everyone in Linkus's family who I met, I got to meet all his brothers. I got to meet his cousins. I got to meet his mom and dad. They're so stupidly nice. Linkus, if you guys don't know, used to live in LA, and Ari and I would double date with Linkus and Maisie, his lovely wife now, all the time, and we love them dearly and we miss them. They moved to Texas for freedom, for God, for country, for guns, and of course, for zero income tax. So anyway, they go to Texas, all right? They go to Texas, and we were invited out for their wedding. Very, very lovely, and we're excited to go. I go to Linkus's chat, I don't know, 2 days before I fly out, and I'm making jokes in his chat, and I'm like, hey, I hope you left a spot for me to give a 45-minute speech. I sold a Rocket Money ad I have to give. I'm telling this joke in his chat. I'm like, hey, I make sure there's a part in the ceremony where I can ramble for 45 minutes to your family, and I want to sell my sponsorship. I'm just joking. I'm joshing. No problem, right? Hold that thought. So I go to Linkus's house. It's massive. Everything is bigger in Texas, bro. And I'm asking him, you know, how much this shit cost. I'm not going to put all this shit on blast, but like, it's a third of the cost for double the size of the house you would get in LA. Second thing I notice, if I ever see one more Republican in Texas complain about gas prices, I'm going to lose it. What are you talking about? It was like $2.50. I'm not kidding. $2.50. I'm not kidding. A gallon. That's crazy. I meet his family. If you guys don't know, by the way, I'm sure everybody here knows, but like Linkus, fellow speedrunner, we do Hitman together. Really good friends. Love Sweden. I mean, love Linkus. Swedish guy came here. All right. And the first thing I do when I meet his family is I pull his brothers aside and I say, hey, you got any embarrassing Linkus stories that I can tell on stream? And boy, did they. He's got two brothers. One of them's named Max. He's the middle brother. Super friendly, super nice guy, but also like a gamer. His other brother, Luve, was like a Giga Chad in the Swedish military. He's like 6'2". He was wearing a muscle t-shirt that said, I love the USA or some shit. With a big American flag on it. It was his first time in America 1 day ago, and he's in the Swedish military. So I'm talking to them, and they say, first of all, Linkus is the youngest brother, and he, when they were growing up, would abuse that fact because he was the little baby. And so whenever them three were home alone and they all had chores to do, like if they're like, hey, Linkus, go clean the kitchen or whatever, he would call his mom on the phone and go, Mom, I was up so late streaming last night and I'm really tired and they're trying to make me clean the kitchen. And then Linkus would get this smug grin, they said, and hand the phone. And then he would start getting yelled at and they're like, you're not his parents. You're not Linkus's parents. You don't get to decide what chores he has to do and not do. You should clean the kitchen. And then also, obviously, that's the upside of being the youngest brother. The downside is, you know, if you're in a family and you have brothers, you might know, the youngest brother gets picked on because they are physically the weakest. And so what Linkus did to counteract that was they had like a solid metal shoehorn. You know, it's like a long metal rod you used to like put your shoes on. He would instantly run and grab that and just swing it while. And like apparently if it hit you, it stung. Like it really left a welt. So it's like a master sword. It's like the master sword. So Linkus's strategy whenever he was ever under any physical threat or getting, you know, pushed around was he would run and grab the master sword. Third thing I learned, and this is very interesting, Linkus's father, picture like a kind old Swedish man who's an accountant. Round-rimmed glasses, sweet little old man, you know, kind of picture that. This guy's a motherfucking gamer. This guy's like a hardcore, like 1,000 hours in Twilight Princess type gamer. No wonder Linkus grew up the way he did. So big ups to all of them. I met Maisie's parents as well. They were all also very nice, but I didn't get to meet them as closely. Anyway, I walked around Linkus's house, all really nice. That was day one. Then day two's the wedding, okay? I'm a groomsman. I'm one of Linkus's groomsmen. He said I was the second best man. And I forgot to mention this, but he, weeks ago, sent me a link to the exact outfit I was supposed to wear as a groomsman. It was supposed to be a navy blue suit, etc., etc. I waited a little bit of time. Then I look online and I see the suit and I go to buy it and it goes, give us your measurements. And I'm like, oh, I don't know my measurements. So I wait another week. Okay, and then finally it's like, whoa, getting kind of close. So I go and I search through all my old emails to find the measurements that I had for my wedding. And I type them in, go through the whole process, buy it. And I go, ship to me. And it goes, it'll arrive 1 day after the wedding starts. So I look up the place he bought his suit in Texas, call them, explain the situation. They think maybe they can figure it out. I show up the day of the wedding in the morning, pictures in 4 hours. I get there. We find the exact color. We find the exact pants. We find the exact tie. I get pretty much everything. The size is a little bit off. It's a little bit big. Not super big, but a little bit big. Linkus in chat. You know I look good, bro. You know I look good when I was standing normally. But it gets a little baggy when I was like bunched up, bro. By the way, I want to say, we're supposed to show up at like 3. I show up 3:15 or whatever. I'm a little late and I'm worried about it because I had to go get everything. I get there. Everyone's waiting around like, where's Linkus? He shows up like 3:45. Linkus late as fuck for his own wedding, bro. Everyone's freaking out. So we do the pictures. I got a secret picture I'm going to share with you guys. I'm sure Linkus has no problem with me sharing this. Sheesh! Ladies, he's taking. Maisie put a ring on it. So he's getting ready. We're all having a good time. We're all buttoning up. So I walk around. I go see hi to Ari and people out there and whatever. And everyone's like, oh, you look good. You know, look real good. Oh, you cleaned up real well. I got a haircut, you know. It was styled a little better. But and then we go out to take the photos. And the photographer's like, hey, Lance Bass, get over there. Kind of cut me down. If anybody's from Point Crow stream and you know Abby, she's one of the bridesmaids, and you pair up each groomsman with a bridesmaid. So I'm walking down with Abby and she's holding her thing, and it's good because I knew her, which is cool. And she's practicing for her speech. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention. While I'm at Linkus's house and we're partying, he pulls me into a room, his Zelda room, and he goes, hey, can you help me write my vows? The wedding's tomorrow, bro. And I would only say this, Maze already knows, right? I would never put him on, I would never. And also, he did have a good excuse where he was like, I want to wait till Maisie was done with hers so I know how long to be. And I think that's fair. He's asking me for help writing it. And I'm like, dude, just chat GPT it, bro. No, I'm giving him advice. I'm telling him, I'm trying to ask him, you know, like what's like one real authentic moment that you knew like this is the one for you? Like what was the moment in your life? Told him the story about how Ari rebuilt the Honda, and I was like, and like try to put that in there, and then the rest of it can sort of be more like I vowed, you know, all the standard stuff, but you have that one moment. But you know, just to be clear, I didn't write anything. He wrote the whole thing himself, and they were good. And then tomorrow, the next day, I see Abby stressing about her speech, and I thought it was like, I thought Abby was the maid of honor because I see the best man, he's doing his speech. I thought Abby was the maid of honor doing her speech, and I thought that was it. I thought it was best man, maid of honor speech. And so we get to the wedding itself. It's very beautiful. The pastor at one point is like, repeat after me. I, Linus, now thee wed, or whatever, you know, like old English. And then Linkus goes, what? And he's like, I thee wed. And he goes, what? I don't blame him, dude. You don't know the word thee because it's not normal. It's already second language and they didn't do any prep. Like they're having a who's on first. They just keep saying, excuse me? And then finally someone's like, thee, like someone other than the pastor. They just kind of roll with it. Anyway, they do that. And then they start doing their vows. Maisie goes first because she's worried that if he goes first, she'll cry, which is fair. She opens her vows up. She reads the first sentence. When I first saw you, I knew I loved you or whatever. Instantly crying. Before she even said anything, like it was like, hello, everybody. They were beautiful vows, extremely beautiful. I'm getting a little tear. Then it's Linkus's turn. He starts going. His vows are also very beautiful. And then they do the weird, and then they kiss too much, I'll be honest. Everyone cheered, and it was a very beautiful time. And that was the wedding, you know, normal thing. We had a little reception afterwards. And that's where everyone starts giving speeches. So, you know, Linkus's dad comes up there, gives this really great speech about Linkus's whole life. He flashes back like 15 years. And he's like, Linkus starts doing this streaming thing and I don't know about it. And then Linkus says, I want to go to Germany and get an apartment by myself and start streaming. And I'm like, I don't know about it. And then Linkus is like, hey, I want this girl I met online to come visit me in Sweden. And I'm like, I don't know about it. He has like this running through line where he keeps going like, I don't know. And then it all works out in like this beautiful way. You know, that's the idea. Great speech. I'm not going to go through all their speeches, but everyone has great speeches is what I'm saying. And then I notice that Abby is not the maid of honor. And like every one of Maisie's bridesmaids is giving a speech, like all of them. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Cause like on our side, we only got one guy. And then the best man gives a speech. And then a lady walks up to my table and taps me on the shoulder and she's like, hey, do you have a speech? Like someone running the wedding. And I'm like, no. And then I look over at Linkus and he's like, speech? Now, to be clear, no other groomsman had a speech. Just the best man. It wasn't just me that didn't have a speech. But like, I would have, but it turns out, I'm not kidding, Linkus thought when I made that joke in chat that I wanted a speech. That I was like asking, but if you asked me, I would have done it. I only made that, he thought that joke was real. So I'm sitting there thinking, by the way, Linkus, I was ready to go. I start freestyling a speech in my head. But then someone else had something to say, and then it was enough. Then they moved on. It was gonna be about, I'll tell you the bones of it, all right? The idea was that I was gonna say in my speech how crazy life is and how things work out. And I was gonna be like, so some of you, most of you probably know that Linus here plays video games for a living. Online, that's his job. I have the same job, but unlike him, I'm not even good at the games. All right, that was the idea. I would get a little opener and then get a little laugh. And then I would say, and a few years back, there was a tournament where we paired up professionals like Linus with amateurs like me. And in that tournament, you were randomly selected. And I looked at all the people I could be paired with. One of them was right there. I was gonna point at Small Ant. I was like, that guy would be great. I know him. There was a guy out in Austin, Texas that I knew. That's simply, I would have loved to be here with him. And there was a third guy, a Swedish guy named Linkus. And I remember thinking to myself, praying, please don't give me Linkus. Please don't give me Linkus. Please don't give me Linkus. 4 years later, I'm speaking at his wedding. That was gonna be my opener. All right, and I was gonna be like, it's crazy how life works. And then I was gonna talk about, all our experiences, me and Linkus and Maisie. And that was my idea. I was like trying to freestyle literally on the top of my dome. They end the speeches. We all start getting drunk and dancing. It's a really good time. Again, Point Crow's there, Small Ant's there. Oh, dude. So after the wedding, we're all just hanging out. I'm like, I haven't seen people because I've been with the groomsmen the whole time. I'm like, introduce myself to people. I'm laughing. I'm telling jokes. Stans is there. I'm talking to Stans. And then I get a look from the woman who is standing with Small Ant. I waved at Small Ant, but I hadn't said hi yet. There, he's got his girlfriend with him. And I haven't met her. I don't know her. Her name's Leslie. She's really nice. And finally, I'm like, I should introduce myself, And so I go, hi, I'm Brandon. Nice to meet you. And she says, do you stream? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, I recognize your voice, but it's usually 2x speed. And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, he listens to your clips every single day on 2x speed. And his face starts getting a little sheepish. After we joke around a bit, he pulls out his phone and he starts scrolling the Big A Clips channel. Every single one is watched. Small Ant has watched every single Big A Clips for a year and a half. That's my GOAT. That's actually so complimentary to me because I always tell I look at Small Ant's videos and I send them to my editors and I'm like, we should copy this. He's like, he's got it figured out. So it's fun that he watches that shit. That's cool. Put this in the Big A Clip so we can see it. You know what's funny is I should have shown him my recently watched on YouTube was a 2.5 hour Small Ant Pokemon video. That all goes well. It's really fun. I got to meet some people, say hi to people. And then after the wedding, they're like, hey, let's go to a honky tonk. Honky tonk is like a big ass bar. So we drive out to, I'm not kidding, the biggest bar I've ever seen in my entire life. Like hundreds and hundreds, it's massive. The parking lot goes in all directions in a giant circle. You could never. And I feel like the Swedes, like his brothers, were blown away. And we get there and it's blasting country music and we're having a good time and we start dancing too. And we're going, there's a giant mechanical bull, like the rodeo bulls. It's mostly women and get on. I don't think people want to see dudes get on the mechanical bull, but we tell Linkus he should do it. So Linkus gets on the bull and thank God, Chad, I got you a video. Look at him getting up on the mechanical bull, brother. All right. Yeah. Oh, it's worth saying, like we showed up, everyone's in like, t-shirts and cowboy hats, and we're all in our gear from the wedding. Like, Maisie's still in her wedding dress. A little bit of cheating. A little bit. That's my goat, dude. How drunk is he? So, I'll tell you a little inside baseball. My understanding is that Linkus and Maisie were supposed to go with everybody to Six Flags the next day, but they did a little too much drinking. I heard it got hot canceled on account of the hangover. So they both got a little fucked up, but it's your wedding night. What are you gonna do? But they had a great time. And so around, let's say midnight, I'm an old man. I'm not getting super drunk. I got a flight early in the morning. I have my standard ass 3 beers. I had 2 beers and a Truly, dude, and I'm like, all right, well, about time to call it. But I leave and I got the munchies. All right. So I say goodbye to everybody, give everybody a big hug. I give his brothers a big hug. Dude, his brother, his oldest brother, Luve, he tells me, hey, if you ever come to Sweden, I will let you drive a tank. I'm not joking. I'm absolutely doing it. Even if Linkus is not going, I'll go, but I would rather go with them. He said, you give me enough notice, I'll let you drive a tank. That's awesome. I'll do a Sweden stream in a tank. That sounds badass. So I give him a hug, I leave, and then I get the munchies, and I'm like, you know what I want? Some Taco Bell. That sounds good now. So thank God I see one. Now in Texas, it's kind of like playing Skyrim or Oblivion, where you see a mountain in the distance and you can get there if you just walk straight. I see a Taco Bell in the distance and I'm like, let's walk. And I start walking and it's like, damn, it takes forever. And we finally get there. We get to the Taco Bell and it's closed. Taco Bell's closed, but the drive-thru's open. Well, what if I just walk through the drive-thru? There's a car waiting and they go ahead of us. They wave me ahead. So I walk up and I stand there and Ari puts me on blast on her social media and I'm sitting there trying to get Taco Bell. So I'm screaming into this thing and I'm like, hey, trying to order here. Hello, anyone there? They don't answer. Complete silence. You can't see it, but there's a window behind this. I can see the guy in there. I look over, I see him, he sees me, but they're not answering me. They're just not doing anything. And there's a car behind me waiting. So I finally walk away, the car comes in. Then I'm like, okay, not gonna take my order, huh? I got a plan. I get the Taco Bell app. I scan this shit. This is me getting the Taco Bell app. And I'm ordering online for pickup. And I order my single crunch wrap and I order it, okay? Then it says, okay, you can pick it up at the drive-thru. Just go up there and say your number. So then I go back here with my order and I say my number. They don't say anything. So I'm like, all right, I'll go to the window. So I walk up here to the window. Now it's like 12:40 or whatever. It's like late. Dude shuts it. He won't talk to me. He won't talk to me when I'm not in a car. We hold up the phone. It's Ari's phone because my phone is probably dead or something. I have to use Ari's phone. And I hold up the phone to the dude in the window and I'm like, I've got an order. Like I need to pick it up. He goes, no, can't do it. And I'm like, bro, just open the window and hand me the tacos, dude. I've already paid for it. So now I'm a little mad. And I go, okay, then cancel it. He like looks at me exasperated. And then he goes, he punches it in, clicks out a receipt, opens the window, hands me the receipt, gives my money back. He opened the window to hand me the receipt instead of handing me the tacos. So now I can't get the food. So we go to this parking lot and I call an Uber and I'm defeated, whatever, I'm defeated. The Uber arrives, I get in and I have a little bit of an idea. Uber driver's name is Jackson. And I go, Jackson, I will give you a 50% tip if you drive me through that drive-thru. And I'll also buy you any Taco Bell you want. It's a little over the line, but I got a little buzz in me and whatever. Jackson goes, all right. Jackson goes, okay. Drives me around. He doesn't actually end up wanting anything, but he gets 50% tip. I order the 2 tacos or whatever the thing. I pull up, same guy. I got a shit-eating grin on my face as I reach out and grab my fucking bag. Then we go back home. I chow the down, have a great night, fall asleep, wake up, fly home. I think that was the major arc of the story, but I just want to say Linkus and Maisie are such fantastic people. They had a beautiful wedding. I was very pleased to be invited, pleased to be a part of it. He's calling me? Oh, okay.
Yo.
What up?
I thought I'd fill you in on something that I guess we both missed.
Okay.
So I've been filled in from Abby because let's just say it this way. I do not know how this night ended. So this comes straight from Abby Bagel.
Okay.
So apparently, I'm having way too much to drink. I can barely stand up anymore. They're like, all right, you're too drunk, Linkus. We gotta head out. So they're taking me out to the outside. And I lean up against like this wooden pillar outside.
Okay.
I'm starting to collapse. Like I can't even stand leaning against
Wait,
this
Maisie in chat said you powered down like a Five Nights at Freddy's animatronic.
Yeah. So what happens is Maisie runs up and she grabs me so I won't fall down. And then Maisie's like, oh shit, he's too heavy. I can't hold him up. So Abby comes and holds me on my left shoulder, calls Point Crew up to hold me on my right shoulder, and then Maisie walks away. And somehow in my drunk mind, I'm like, oh my god, I'm too drunk, and I'm letting Maisie down in her wedding night. So apparently, as I'm like half dead, being held up by Abby in one arm and Point Crew one hand, I goes, Maisie, I can still do this if you're on top. In front of everybody.
Dude, what's extra funny is you drove me to that bar. He drove me there. He was the driver. And he was like, yeah, I might drive everybody back. If I have a couple drinks, then I'll leave my car there. He was like, I don't know. Maybe I'll have 1 or 2 beers.
We were driving home, and apparently, I cannot believe it. The story doesn't end. We get picked up by this Uber, and Abby is freaking out because she's like, what if he throws up in this car? So apparently, they make a plan with Poincro where he jumps in the front seat, and he's starting to make up a fake story to the Uber driver to distract him from realizing how drunk I am. So he's like, he's an aspiring actor in LA, and they're making up this whole ass story of how he's an actor trying to make
Poincro
it in
is
LA.
drunk too, bro. That's the dumbest idea I've ever heard. First of all, every Uber driver is well aware when there's a drunk person in the back seat. You're not fooling them.
I don't know why. So they're super engaged, and me and Maisie didn't know. We found this out the next day because Maisie apparently was like, dude, why is there so engaged? And he's calling me out. So he's like wanted to know about actors in LA and all this stuff. And I was like completely head down, completely out of it in the back seat. And then apparently like 5 minutes in,
Yeah.
Abby says something like, oh, do I have gossip? And like a second wind hits my body where I apparently light up, and I ran for the next 10 minutes in full energy about all the gossip that I have gotten in the past 2 days. I don't know how, but apparently I got it. And then we got to the hotel, and I walk up to the front desk. I slam my wallet on the table to the counter and says to the girl, I'll give you all the money in my wallet if you let me check out late. But I'm so drunk that this girl's not having it. That literally she hands us the room key, and Abby ends up checking in for us. And then that's the night. And then, you know, we went to the hotel, and I did Uber Eats Taco Bell. I should let you know. By the way.
Yeah? A man after my own heart. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you missed. I don't need to hijack.
Big shout out to
more,
Abby. Abby Bagel. Truly a saint. Yeah, I had a great time, man. Thanks for the invite. That was a blast.
Of course. No, it was a good time. That's it. That's what you missed. You didn't miss too much. If you would have stayed longer.
Yeah. It would have been the same.